Hey, what's up guys? This is Tim. On today's cheap gear review, I'll be showing you the Vixia HF R20 camcorder by Canon. So this is the Canon Vixia HF R20 camcorder. As you can see, it's fairly diminutive in size. One cool thing, it has one of those electronic lens caps. Of course, a lot of camcorders have that nowadays. Always a cool feature though, it means you can't lose the thing because it's built in. But it does mean that if the camera breaks, then, well, it'll stay open and you won't have any way to fix it. I got mine in black, but it does come in 3 colors. Of course I got mine in black. Why would I get it in any other color? That would be ridiculous. You may or may not be able to see that, but of course it's got a DC in, a component out, and an AV out. This is what they look like behind that little door. The DC, of course, is a proprietary connector. The component out is, of course, a proprietary connector. The AV out, however, is just one of those standard tip ring sleeve AV out composite sort of plugs, which is a good thing because you can find them everywhere. On the top of the machine, you have the zoom control there. It's actually fairly smooth. It's variable speed. Of course, you can set that in the menu. And it actually works fairly silently. If you're using the internal microphone of the camera on some lesser camcorders and even up to the prosumer level that I used in college, you'd notice a little bit of a whirring noise or a whining noise when you'd zoom if you're using the internal mic. With this, not so much. It's actually pretty quiet. This button here is to take pictures. Why you'd want to take pictures with a video camera, I don't know. But one cool feature is that if you want to take stills of something you already shot, it can be done. You just need to play it and then hit the button and it'll take it. Of course, you have the requisite power button there. It's not a very substantial feeling button, but it does the job. And you've got a nice little green light. Nice little glowing green light. As you can see, it shoots in an AVC HD format. Not a bad thing. It works perfectly with Premiere Pro, which is what I use to edit. So I have no complaints about that. You'll see here it says it has a 20x optical zoom. That's good. I like it. Optical is better than digital anyway. And of course, it's an HD CMOS sensor. You will, in fact, get a little bit of jello effect if you try to make a Bourne movie on this, so don't do any of that. Also, it has built-in memory. Always a good thing. And of course, you can expand it with SD cards, and it does accept SDXC cards, although I simply use SDHC cards. This takes 2 SD cards. Why could it possibly need 2 SD cards when it has 8 GB of internal memory? Relay recording, which is always a good thing. If you shoot a ridiculously long event like I did just a week ago, you will be able to spill over from the internal memory to card A to card B. That's a good thing. Means you can get like 4 hours of recording out of it on the second to highest quality setting, which is still pretty good and what I generally use for this show. The second important bit here, a microphone input. It's a video snapshot feature. Of course, there's the requisite let's review these clips button. USB output, that's how you get things into the computer. Works pretty well. On Windows, at least, it actually is very, very, very easy to use. And you can see each SD card as a separate drive. And the requisite HDMI out. All camcorders have this nowadays. I haven't tried this one, but online reviews say it works pretty well. So I'll take them at their word. The on-screen display does what it needs to do. You can turn most components of it off, and you can obviously change things around a little bit. For instance, this down here, you can change what function that is simply by going into the function bit up there and actually selecting a new one. It'll go with the most recent one that you used, or by default, when you first turn the camera on, it's going to go with this thing that lets you make squiggly lines over the video that you're shooting in case you're a glutton for post-punishment. So let's just go into the menu here and let's check things out. It's actually a little bit difficult to navigate this menu. Not all options appear in the main menu. Some of them appear in these other categories here. So if you just rely on this menu to get into your deep editing, you're going to be disappointed. Obviously, there's auto white balance. You can also set it for tungsten or daylight or custom, and you can set your focus to automatic focus or manual focus. Same with exposure, auto or manual. That decoration thing is entirely useless, but some people might have fun with it if they're using it as just like a family camcorder. The microphone level, I usually set it to automatic because, well, you know, I can't be screwed to to deal with that and actually be on camera at the same time. The image stabilizer is pretty good. There's a digital image stabilizer and there's an optical image stabilizer. I recommend using the optical, but if you're going to be shaking around quite a bit, you can use the digital one. You're still going to get the jello effect from the CMOS sensor, but you know, your mileage may vary. You might get better results than I did. Digital effects, completely useless. Unless you want to put a sepia tone on your footage out the gate, don't use that at all. Pre-recording is pretty cool. If you're shooting a storm or something else where you're going to have to capture just a moment in time, that will record 3 seconds before you press the shutter button, which is a good thing. I like that feature a lot. As you can notice, the battery, between the time that we started talking about the menu and now, went from 2 bars to just 1. The battery life on this is dreadful. You get maybe an hour out of the battery. Now, I did buy this camera refurbished, so that could have something to do with it. And luckily, you can actually change the battery. That's a good thing. I like being able to change the battery. You can't on all cameras, but you can on this one. And so it takes one that they sell in the Canon store for $70 or something ridiculous like that. Picture quality itself is pretty good, so let's take a look at some clips here. I'm going to show you some in 60i, in 30p, and in 24p, just to show you the variable frame rates involved. And I'm going to do so at the maximum quality, MXP quality. And this PF24 indicates that it's going to be shooting in 24p, but stretching it to 60i in some sort of proprietary format that we will talk about whilst watching footage. So this is some outdoor footage that I shot with the Vixia earlier today, just to give you an idea of the picture in a non-studio environment. I kept most everything on the automatic settings, so it's automatic white balance, automatic exposure, automatic focus. You know, really the only difference between these clips is going to be the frame rate, which this camera does support multiple frame rates. Now, I have to use the term frame rates loosely because while it does have a 24p option and a 30p option, in addition to a 60i option, the 24p and 30p options both stretch those to fit 60i data. So it's still NTSC 29.97, all interlaced frames. You know, so you're going to have to run it through some sort of filter, you know, to de-interlace it in the case of the 30p footage, you know, or if you're lazy like me for the 24p footage, or if you really want true 24p, there's some software you can run it through that costs about $100, and I just haven't justified that purchase yet. So this is kind of boring. This is just my neighborhood. You can hear the on-camera microphone and how well that sounds. It's not the worst I've heard. It's not the greatest either. That's why I'm glad they have a microphone in. And you'll be able to hear some wind noise here and there as well. And so this first clip is 24p, or it's using the PF24 frame rate listed on the camera. So you can see it's a little bit choppy, a little bit jerky. On all these clips, I'm not going to de-interlace or do any post-processing to them at all. But overall, the picture looks great. You know, for being a camcorder that I got refurbished for about $130, it does a very admirable job. I mean, it's a sharp picture, full 1080p. And, you know, even the 24p, even though it's fake 24p, it doesn't look bad. And, you know, there is the option to actually, you know, run it through that $100 filter. So let's move on to the 30p footage. So as you can see, the 30p footage is a little bit smoother looking. This would be a good look for, you know, your general documentation type of shoot. You know, something where it doesn't need to look cinematic in any way, shape, or form. You know, but you still want to have that nice progressive feel and not have it look like home video. So again, just testing out the zoom on the 30p. This is what it looks like when it's fully zoomed in on the people playing basketball there. And yeah, overall, it still just looks very admirable considering the price of the camera and the fact that it's such a small camera with such a small sensor. You're not going to win any cinematography awards using this camera for any kind of narrative film, but, you know, that's not what it's designed to do. And, you know, for what it is designed to be, a camcorder, it does a very, very good job. So this is some footage in 60i, and I just wanted to include it for comparison. As you can see, it looks significantly more like home video. Now, if that's what you're after, that's great. I mean, if you're out to make, you know, a video that looks like it was shot on a consumer camcorder, this is the mode for you. Mind you, the colors still look significantly better than any of the mini DV cameras or webcams, or even up through the prosumer level cameras that I used in school. But it's still the motion itself looks like video. So I just wanted to include it for comparison. But this is also a good opportunity to talk about the touch screen. You know, the actual menu screen. You have to navigate it via this resistive touch screen, and that's on the on-screen display. So they included a stylus. There was just a little chunk of plastic that I lost almost immediately. It wasn't a pen or anything like that, and there's nowhere to keep it on the camera. But you just want to be real careful with the touch screen and make sure you don't actually damage the only feedback you have as far as what the camera's recording. I mean, it doesn't have an eyepiece or anything like that. And any menu functions you need to get into, you're going to be navigating via this resistive touch screen. So that is something to be wary about, something to keep in mind. Mine's been fairly durable, and looking at the reviews online, this camera's durability has been touted as surprising. I didn't want to include any tests like dropping it on a tile floor like some people had mentioned in the online reviews. You know, it is what it is. I actually like this camera to function, and I just don't want to risk it. But that is something to bear in mind, that you will be interacting with the touchscreen, and you will need to be careful if you're not used to dealing with resistive touchscreens. Overall, a good image, though. It even keys out well. So that's been the Vixia HF R20 camcorder from Canon. I highly recommend it. I like it a lot. If you can get past the short battery life and the somewhat troublesome touch controls, it'll shoot a great image, and you'll still be able to send your kids to college, which is always a good thing. If you want to find out where to purchase this bad boy, click the link below in the description. Until next time, though, I've been Tim Lyons, reminding you that just because it's cheap doesn't always mean it sucks. Thanks for watching. Want to see the Bastards live? We'll be playing Loud and Local 6 on Saturday, May 25th at the Mission Theater. Southern Pain, What I've Become, Triplicity Guild, Sucker Train, and Adam Fetters are also on the bill. Doors open at 6:30 p.m., and this is an all-ages rock show. Tickets are only $10 if you email contact@kcbastards.com today. Visit www.kcbastards.com or reverbnation.com/kcbastards for more details. These are the bastards you're looking for.